Jesus' appearance of his hair is white. And this is spoken of at Revelation chapter 1, verse 14, which reads, "Moreover, his head and his hair were white as white wool, comma, as snow." And I'm going to freeze right there. Now, this is talking about how John is seeing the being of Jesus in heaven in this angelical person, and he is highlighting how the the color of Jesus' face is white, and also it's highlighted that the color of Jesus' hair is white. And John makes two illustrated points to define the color of white, which is very clear. John says at verse 14, Revelation 1:14, I'm going to read it slow. "Moreover, his head and his hair were white." So I'm going to stop right there. So John says that Jesus' head and his hair were white, very clearly known, white. And then he goes on to say his hair were white, and he says as white wool. Now I'm going to stop right there. John is making reference to the color of Jesus' head and hair. And he said it's white, and then he illustrates something we can relate to. He says it's white as white wool. So some people try to take this scripture and try to say, oh, here it's saying Jesus is a black man. He's an African American man or a Jamaican person. The texture of his hair. It's not mentioning nothing about the texture of Jesus' hair. It actually says his head and his hair. And also Jesus in heaven at this time is an angelical spirit person. He's not a physical person that's connected with any race of humankind. However, if you wanna just go by what's written in the Bible, it's clearly identified how John is making reference to wool, the color of the wool. That's why he says white as white wool. It starts off with the point of white wool. It doesn't say the texture was like wool. It says an emphasis on the color of white. White as white wool, and then there's a comma, and then there's another illustrated point, as snow. So it's pointing out how Jesus' head and hair is white as white wool is white, referring to color, and also as snow is white. Now some people just want to pick that wool part and try to inflate it to mean something that's not written. And they ignore the fact that it says snow. It makes reference to the color of snow. How is it that some of these people that do these things, none of them takes that part about the snow and confuses it with that being the color of or texture of his hair? Because it wouldn't make sense. It's not making reference to a physical texture at all. And I'm going to go to one point to clear that up. The one point I want to go to clear this up is that 1 Peter that's at 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 18. 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 18 reads, "For Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous and for the unrighteous, so that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the spirit." So 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 18 points out how Jesus was resurrected as a spiritual being. He wasn't resurrected as a fleshly person. That's how he's able to go back to heaven, the spiritual realm. So this is just an example, but the main point of this video is 2 points that's highlighted. The color of Jesus' head is white, and for another video it will show that the color of Jesus' hair is white also. So it's 2 points to this video. The color of Jesus' head is white, and the color of Jesus' hair is white.